So as you're starting to think about building a team of people, attracting people to your cause, inspiring people in health and wellness, I want you to start thinking not just of your vision, but breaking it down to some very specific goals. What are going to be the goals that you want to accomplish in the health and wellness area? So I want you to think right now. If you've got a pen and a piece of paper, feel free to write it down. If you want to use your cell phone, feel free to jot it in your cell phone. Don't go on to Facebook and check your texts and all that stuff. But I want you, if you don't have those in your mind, to think of what your goal might be. And so when I ask people, what are your goals for yourself? It's amazing the answers I get back. I personally love setting goals. Absolutely love setting goals. One of my favorite things to do. If you walk into my home, I've got my goals for my health, my finances, my career, all my personal projects. I've got my goals typed up and printed all over the house. If you come into my house, my goals are scotch taped to the front door. They're scotch taped to the wall beside my bed. They're scotch taped to the wall beside my computer in my office. They're scotch taped in the bathroom. Everywhere, all over the place. My goals are all over my home. Now, I say before that I'm a competitive bodybuilder. I used to be a personal trainer, so I used to get paid to teach people to get in shape. And there was one time of the year that the vast majority of people set a goal to lose weight and get in shape. What do you think is the most common time every single year that lots and lots of people start thinking, I am going to lose weight and I'm going to get in shape? What time of the year do you think that might be? New Year's, exactly. People set New Year's resolutions. Number one New Year's resolution, I am going to lose weight and get in shape. That's the most popular resolution, followed by I'm going to quit smoking and I'm going to save money and stop drinking alcohol and mend my relationships and pursue the career that I want. But the number one goal for New Year's resolutions is lose weight and get in shape. Everyone understand that? For sure. And so I'd be working at my gym, and it was amazing. The first 3 weeks of January, we would sell thousands and thousands and thousands of memberships. Far more memberships than human beings could actually fit inside the building. There's no room for all the people who bought memberships. And it was kind of annoying because we'd be at the gym, and people would be paying a lot of money to get personal training, and there'd be a big lineup in front of all of the different equipment to use the treadmill and use the barbells and the dumbbells. And so it would bother people. There's this big lineup. But I had faith. By about January 20th, all the lineups would fade away. Not that any of you know what I'm talking about. But the lineups would start to fade away. Why? Because people were not following through on their goals. And so I want you to think for yourself, what goals do you have? I'll tell you some of my fitness goals right now. You can walk into my home, they're on the wall. I'm in this fitness contest right now. I want my six-pack back by August 29th. Ripped six-pack. So you can follow me on Facebook and you can check that out. I'm going to be doing that over the next 7 weeks. Ripped six-pack by August 29th. Another goal, I want to bench press 225 pounds free weight for 10 reps by December 31st. Another goal, I want to do 100 push-ups without stopping. 100 push-ups, okay? I can't yet do 100 push-ups, so this is a goal that I want to accomplish. So I've just named 3 fitness goals. What are some of your fitness goals? I bet if I sat with you individually, especially the older ones in the audience who are closer to my age, if I asked each one of you individually what your goal is, most people's first goal is the number on the scale. The number on the scale. Not bench press or reps or how many miles I want to run, but I want to weigh this much on the scale. That's a pretty common goal. So in your mind right now, think of what your goal is. A better goal might be your dress size or your pants size, because muscle is denser than fat. And so your body shape can change, but the scale might stay the same. Does that make sense? So when you put on muscle and decrease fat, the scale might remain absolutely the same number on the scale, but you're getting into incredible shape. So sometimes the weight can be a little bit deceptive. So if you're thinking of a personal goal that you want to set for yourself with health and wellness, and the first goal that comes to mind is weight, that's okay. It's a good goal. It's a good starting place, because usually that means losing some fat. But what I also encourage you to do is think more in terms of the overall shape and size and endurance and cardiovascular strength that you want. Not just, I want to lose some weight, but how far do I want to be able to run? What mobility issues do I have? Especially as you're getting into your 40s, 50s, 60s, and 70s, do I want to be able to stretch and lift and move so that I remain healthy and vibrant? Maybe your goal is, as you have grandkids, you want to be able to run beside them as they're riding on their bicycle. Maybe as we get out of COVID-19, we start traveling more. Maybe your goal is that you'd like to be able to travel all around the world without any aches and pains. You've got the energy to walk all day and visit all the sites. Maybe your goal is you'd like to run a 26-kilometer marathon. Maybe that's your goal. Maybe an Ironman. Maybe you want to be in a fitness contest. Or maybe you want to decrease your body fat percentage and your cholesterol level. Maybe the doctor has come back with some bad news. And the doctor said, this problem over here, this has to get addressed. And they've given you some numbers that are a little bit scary. And the numbers have you worried. And maybe your goal is to address that specific situation. But in your mind right now, think of what your goal is. Okay, so everyone think of a goal. You don't have to say it out loud, but just think of what the goal is in your mind. What is your health goal for yourself? Now let's apply the SMART criteria. The first level is being specific. Some people might say, I just want my health to get better, CJ. And that's an okay goal, but it's not really specific. Specific would be, I want my body fat to decrease, my cholesterol level to decrease, my lean muscle mass to increase, my cardiovascular endurance to increase. That's much more specific than just, I want my health to improve. However, it's not yet measurable. So the next criteria we want to add is making the goal measurable. And so say, I want to lose weight, or more specifically, I want to lose fat. That's an okay goal, but it's not really measurable yet. The way we make the goal measurable, hear this loud and clear, is you have to have a number. You have to have a quantifiable criteria attached to the goal. So don't just say, I want to do more or less. That's not measurable. Say, I want to be able to run 10 kilometers without stopping. I want to be able to do 50 push-ups. Now it's measurable. I want the scale to read 160. I want to fit into a 34 pant size. That's measurable. Does everybody get that? Okay, fantastic. Now we want to make sure that the goal is achievable. Because if you say to me, CJ, I have a goal of losing 30 pounds. I say, fantastic, that's a great goal. And then you say, I will have a goal of losing 30 pounds by Saturday. Not achievable. I mean, not really. I mean, you could go into the surgery and chop off a leg with a chainsaw or something. I guess that is a way of accomplishing the goal, but it's not really a good way. So sometimes the goal is a great goal, but it's maybe not achievable. So perhaps you might say, I want to lose 10 pounds by Friday, or something that might be a little bit of a stretch, and there's a way of kind of fudging the numbers and cheating the system a little bit to kind of fake the goal. And some people will do this with diets. Some people, as they're trying to hit their health goal, they will kind of go on a crash diet. And they'll use some strategies that long-term, first of all, isn't healthy, and secondly, is not sustainable. So you can't keep up the pattern for a long time. Maybe you can keep it up for a week, but you can't keep it up for 10 years. So even if you lose the weight a little bit, you're going to put it back on in a month. So the plan may not be achievable by using the current plan. Or your operational pace, the level of activity, you're not putting in enough activity. Maybe the plan works great, but you're just not doing the work. You need to do a goal and set a goal that is achievable. The fourth one is relevant. Does the goal matter? So you say, CJ, I want my health and wellness to improve. I want to lose weight. And the way that I'm going to lose weight is I'm going to shave the hair off of my head. That will help me lose weight. I guess. An ounce. I tried. Not effective. Now, it's just from being 46, buddy. But my son makes fun of me because he says, hey, Dad, your head doesn't look like the photo on your book anymore. Looking at my last book from 10 years ago, I'm like, hey, I buy your food. You show respect. So you want to make sure that the goal that you have is relevant, that it actually makes sense. So you could say, I want to lose weight, and the way that I'm going to do that is to buy new clothing. Well, maybe. But it's not really going to do it for you. So sometimes you want to share your goal, well, not sometimes, as a good general principle, share your goal with somebody that's got more results than you, a little further down the path. They can tell you that this is a good way to do it. The final criteria for a SMART goal is making sure that it is time-bound. What is the deadline for your goal? A lot of people will say, CJ, I'm going to do a specific goal. I'm going to lose body fat. Great. I'm going to make it measurable. I'm going to lose 20 pounds of body fat. Great. It's achievable. I'm not going to do it by Friday. I'm going to give myself time. Fantastic. But then they don't set a deadline. They say, someday I'm going to lose 20 pounds. Someday. You might as well not even start. If you say to yourself, someday I'm going to get this goal, I got bad news for you. You're never going to get the goal. You have to set a deadline for the goal. What is the day the goal is due? And so you say to yourself, I am going to lose 10 pounds by 90 days from now. So maybe you say to yourself, October 1st, I'm going to lose 10 pounds. Let's add the year, October 1st, 2021. Because you might say to yourself, I meant next year. Say the year. What's the actual day you're going to have this done? So again, I've given some of mine. August 29th, I'm wrapping up a fitness contest I'm in right now. December 31st, I've got my goal for bench press and for push-ups. Those are some of my goals that have deadlines right now. So as you're thinking about your goal, as you want to inspire people and lead people on a path to health and wellness, what is the deadline you have for your goal? When do you want to accomplish the goal? I would encourage you, if you want to take it a final step, write the goal down and do what I did. Print it off and put it all over your house. In fact, if you really want to have some fun, go onto Facebook this afternoon and text it out to the world. Tell everybody on Facebook your goal and the day you're going to get it done. I did that this last summer. I was in the middle of COVID, along with the rest of the world, and I hadn't eaten really any junk food from January 1st to July 1st, really nothing at all. And then I did some kitchen renovations. And I got frustrated. I don't know if anyone can relate to that. Doing some renovations, you get a little bit upset and frustrated. I got a little bit upset and frustrated, and right in the middle of COVID-19, hadn't had junk food in 6 months, I started to eat potato chips. I love the taste of potato chips. I don't like wearing potato chips on my tummy, but I love putting potato chips in my mouth. There is a problem there. My mouth loves them, but my abs don't love them. And literally in about 2 months of time, I gained 10 pounds in 2 months of eating tons of potato chips. And I'm a competitive bodybuilder, and I get paid to teach this stuff. And I started eating junk food in the middle of COVID. And so, I know none of you did this, but I've heard stories of other people in the middle of COVID who they've gained some weight through COVID because COVID was a little bit stressful. Not you, but give me a show of hands if you know a friend. Not you, but a friend who gained a couple of pounds during COVID. Does anyone have a friend gain a couple of pounds during COVID? No one wants to put it. They're like, my friend might see me putting up my hand. Yeah, fair enough. So September rolls around, September last year, and I say, this is silly. Here I am as a competitive bodybuilder and a fitness coach. I've got to do this stuff. I've got to turn this around. So you know what I do? I go onto Facebook, and I announce to the world every single Monday morning, I'm going to stand on the scale, I'm going to snap a photograph of my weight, and I'm going to text it out on Facebook for the whole world to see every Monday morning until I lose the 10 pounds. Very few people would be willing to do that. I had all sorts of people texting me. They were like hitting the like button. Wow, this is so inspiring. You've inspired me to start a diet. Great stuff. I don't know if any of them followed through, because they didn't post their results. But they said they were inspired. Interestingly, do you know what was missing from the goal? I said I want to lose 10 pounds, 10 pounds of fat. What was missing? There was no deadline. There's no deadline, exactly. So I reached New Year's, and now I'm annoyed because I broke one of my own rules. I know this stuff. I teach this stuff, and I broke one of my own rules. Set a deadline. So January comes around, and I say to everybody on Facebook, I'm annoyed right now. I have not yet hit my goal, and the reason's obvious. I didn't set a timeline, a deadline, the goal is due. So now I'm setting a deadline. And I announce on Facebook, beginning of January, I have to hit on my scale 150.0 by March 31st, or I have to pay $1,000 to the person who I dislike the most, a political individual who I don't like. I have to pay $1,000 to somebody that I don't like if I don't hit 150.0 on my scale. And the deadline's March 31st. You know what was very fascinating that happened? What do you think started to happen to my weight? Started to drop like a rock. I no longer cared about winning a contest. I no longer cared about health. I no longer cared about nutrition or leadership. I cared there was no way that person was going to get my $1,000. And I tricked myself into doing the right thing for a silly reason. But sometimes we can play these little games to motivate ourselves. But the missing element was I didn't have a deadline. I needed to apply a deadline. And as soon as I did, boom, the goal got done. And because of that, now other people are following through and they're jumping on board with the fitness program that we're doing online. Leaders set a goal that is specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. And as you pursue your goal, as you start to set the example and lead from the front, as you start to cast your vision and inspire people, I'm going to tell you right now, you're going to run into obstacles. You are guaranteed to face a setback. You are guaranteed to face a problem going to happen. And so when it happens, leaders manage their attitude through the problem.